Dangerous escalation in Manipur. 2 drone attacks in 2 days. Drones drop explosives on Manipur village. Homes targeted, villagers attacked. Chief Minister N. Biren Singh promises action. Manipur drone terror is our top focus on India First.
Hello and welcome. You're watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Manipur is facing a new and an alarming threat as improvised explosive devices and grenades were dropped from drones in 2 recent attacks. The Manipur government has condemned these attacks, attributing them to suspected Kuki militants and warning of severe consequences. Here's a detailed report on the unfolding situation.
2 improvised explosive devices dropped from quadcopters in Manipur has set a cat among pigeons in the strike-torn state. In the first instance on Sunday, a drone was used to drop explosives, a suspected grenade on unarmed villagers in the Kotruk village. The Manipur government issued a statement blaming Kuki militants saying, and I quote, "The state government has learned about the unfortunate incident of attack on unarmed Kotruk villagers using drone, bombs and many sophisticated weapons on 1st September 2024, reportedly by Kuki militants, causing deaths of 2 persons, including 1 woman, and injuries to many." The state government believes that drone terror may put a spanner in their works to bring about normalcy in the state.
We have spoken to everybody from here to Delhi, और वहाँ दिल्ली में भी NSG से भी हम लोगों ने बात किया है, DG NSG से बात किया है, उनकी टीम से बात किया है, प्लस और भी एक्सपर्ट्स आ रहे हैं. हम लोगों ने कमिटी भी एक बनाई है कि ये ड्रोन के बारे में पूरा ये पढ़ने के लिए एंड समथिंग टू डू काउंटर करने के लिए उसको कैसे हम लोग आगे ये करें. आसाम राइफल एक कमेटी तो बना दी गई, बट उसके बाद भी कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स को भी हम लोग बुला रहे हैं और जल्दी से जल्दी हम लोग कुछ इसका उपाय ढूंढेंगे.
The state government dispatched teams not only to provide security to villagers but also ordered a cordon and search operation. Even as cordon and search operations were underway, there were reports of a second drone terror strike. The second attack left a 23-year-old woman and 2 others injured in the Imphal West District.
हम लोग सोया नहीं था उस समय. 3 बम फटा यहाँ पे, 3 बम फटा और 1-2 बम जो है, कम से कम मेरे ख्याल से 3 बम जो है यहाँ पे बिना फटे यहाँ पे पड़ा है और एक बम तो जो नहीं फटा है और हमने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया.
Suspected militants are also believed to have opened fire from nearby hilltops at the villages. The state government in a statement said immediate action was being taken to control the situation and efforts were on to punish those who were involved in the drone terror attacks. Manipur police seized the use of drones to drop grenades and improvised explosive devices as a major escalation in the ongoing conflict. Analysts say drones have been used in the conflict by both sides to keep an eye on the adversaries and plan strategies, including counteroffensive, but this is the first instance of drones being weaponized in the conflict. Drones have been used to drop bombs in hybrid conflict and even in war like Russia, Ukraine, and Azerbaijan and Armenia. Bureau Report, India Today.
The use of drones to drop grenades and improvised explosive devices marks a major escalation in the situation in Manipur. The Director General of Police has gone on record to say that the assistance of the National Security Guard and Assam Rifles is being sought for putting effective countermeasures in place, because this is a challenge that the police, it appears, is not geared up to deal with, at least as of now. Let me quickly bring in our experts on this very special broadcast, both with deep knowledge of the lay of the land and ground realities in Manipur. Lieutenant General Konsam Himalay Singh is member of the Consultative Committee of the Manipur government on the Naga peace talks, and he's also former General Officer Commanding of the Nagrota Corps. Also with me is Lieutenant General Shaukin Chauhan, former Director General of Assam Rifles and former Chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group. Gentlemen, welcome on India First. General Chauhan, does the use of drones to drop bombs mark a major escalation of this conflict, and does this change the very nature of operations on ground?
Gaurav, thank you for calling me on your show. I'm honored. There is no doubt that the moment this drone usage started and the first damage report came in, that this is a very dangerous time. It's a very dangerous escalation. But it's something that could have been foreseen. It should have been foreseen last year when the escalation started. Everyone knows that as problems happen, and we've seen it happen in Kashmir, we've seen it happen in all the disturbed areas, the amount of radicalization that takes place only increases, and then the technology and the kind of weapon systems that enter the fray only increase. So this was something that I foretold a year back, that look, solve this issue now. Don't let it escalate, because as it escalates, situations harden. The level of radicalization on both sides will be much greater, and their use of weapons will become greater and greater and greater. They are looking around the world. They are seeing what is happening in Ukraine. They are seeing what's happening in Gaza. They're seeing what's happening in Burma itself.
Yes.
The three brothers, the group of the three brothers are using drones extensively against the Tatmadaw, the Burmese army. So
okay,
it's just a movement this side.
Okay, General Singh, drones to drop bombs, like General Chauhan was pointing out, we've seen it in Ukraine, we've seen it in Russia, we've seen it in a conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, but the armies do that. What do you make of the situation on ground? Does this mark a dangerous escalation, and have the forces been caught off guard because the wound was left festering for too long, sir?
Firstly, thank you very much for having me on your show. I agree with General Soken Chauhan saying that it's a major escalation of the situation here, which was already, in a very bad situation. Now it is getting worse. So, as far as your question about this type of drones, my opinion is that firstly, the drones, the mini and very small varieties, they are available off the shelf. But if you, in order to have a payload of 2 kgs or more, firstly, law prohibits you unless you take a permission. And such kind of a thing with the capability to drop bombs, as has been seen in the last few days, requires a little more coordination, little more kind of capability building, which, according to me, I think it is new, and also the know-how might have been influenced by the neighborhood instability in Myanmar. The PDF, which is fighting the Myanmar army, there are militant groups here in Manipur which are closely linked to the PDF as well, and other militant groups. So therefore, this situation is very dangerous, and it's a big challenge, huge challenge for the security apparatus, both internal and external as well, I'll say.
Oh, you're absolutely right on that account, Sir. General Chauhan, in hushed tones, there has been talk of foreign powers at work here, playing the internal differences. Sir, in your appreciation, are bigger games at play in Manipur right now, and perhaps for a year plus now?
Gaurav, I have no doubt about that. You have a neighbor of Myanmar, of Burma, which is playing both sides in Burma. China is giving arms and ammunition to the three brothers, giving arms to the KLA, to the Chin National Front, the CNA. It's also giving arms to the Tatmadaw, and openly admits it. And China would want nothing more than creating more problems in India. There's a fault line. They utilize the fault line. We have to cover the fault line very quickly. We have to stop the fault line from extending itself, and instead of stopping it, we're allowing it to grow. The fissure, Gaurav, will only increase as time goes by. I have dealt with so many insurgent groups, both in the Northeast and in Kashmir. The next generation of insurgents are greater and more radicalized.
Yes.
And they come with better weapons. So
And
we
that's
have
already
to
happening
stop
here.
these fault lines from being, from creating these problems, and for allowing countries like China, which are inimical to us, from allowing them to exploit our fault lines. There's no doubt about that, Gaurav.
And General Singh, if the Director General of Manipur Police talks of the formation of an expert panel, he seeks views of DG NSG, DG Assam Rifles, the co-commander on how to neutralize this threat, how to deal with this emerging threat. Does that indicate that the militants and the powers behind the militants are actually a step, if not two, ahead of our security forces?
See, firstly, I must say that security forces are, doing a good job. All the central and the state police, but the way it is evolving, it is a mix of. Some people tend to see it as ethnic conflict. It's not so. There are much more dimensions of this conflict as well. There are external powers, there are insurgent groups involved, there are neighbors involved, there are big powers involved. Normal law and order, we may be behind if we are thinking it as a normal law and order and ethnic conflict. In fact, I will call it today, I'll go to the extent of calling it's a threat to our national security. Once we admit that this is a threat to national security, other things will fall in place. So this is something that security planners will have to think more deeply about it, because unless we diagnose the disease or the problem, we will not be able to actually treat the issue here. So I will call upon the people who are in the establishment to understand that this is going to be a big threat to national security in the making, big threat in the making. I mean, given the situation all around, we in the neighborhood, and of course, the big threat from north. So therefore, one has to look at it, and I feel that more attention needs to be given from the national security perspective, as also from the internal security perspective. I think more needs to be done.
So let's talk about effective, tangible measures that need to be taken or needed to be taken as on yesterday, a year back, and that hasn't happened. General Chauhan, both of you have dealt with conflict management, conflict resolution, and ceasefire or peace monitoring. Where are we going wrong, General Chauhan, in Manipur? Because this problem has been festering for far too long now.
Gaurav, the anti-drone or counter-drone technology exists with the Assam Rifles. I can't understand why Manipur government did not foresee this problem and did not ask the Assam Rifles to help them out. Counter-drone technology exists all over the world. All the nations that are fighting these drones have a counter-drone. Russia is using it extensively, and so is the Tatmadaw. And there are simple solutions, and people in India have this technology. Why aren't they using this technology? And why are we doing it? As you said, it should have been done yesterday. Why is it being done day after? This technology, this thought process of getting together, of forming a group together and countering, the counter-insurgent forces must be together. Yes. Why are we at loggerheads with each other, Gaurav? This technology, like I said, is with the Assam Rifle, the counter-drone technology. It exists. It's in our country. It's with all our forces. Why is Manipur feeling itself let down? They must bring it there immediately along the fault lines. You must have this counter-drone technology, and you must bring down as many drones as possible. And why as many counter-drone...
Yes, but isn't that treating the symptom using counter-drone technology? Yes, it is desperately required, should be done immediately, and Assam Rifles has the wherewithal. But treating the disease itself, General Singh, What needs to be done? Now, you know, the Union Home Minister has spent time on ground, and yet despite spending so much time on ground, a centre sending multiple teams, effectively they haven't been able to close the gap. The fissures only seem to widen. What's the solution, sir, in your view?
Gaurav, if you are talking about solution to the conflict, are you referring to that?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay. I have answered part of your question in the earlier question also, that
Yes.
you know, one needs to look at it from what angle. I mean, if you look at it as a ethnic conflict, I think you are likely to go wrong. I mean, that I began by saying that. But what I understand from the ground level, what I see around, and whatever interaction I've had with various strata of people, I feel that it is time that we, you know, the big brother, you know, the Indian state has to come into play. Not just leave it to the locals here that, okay, you're fighting and you are having, you know, problem with each other, you sort it out yourself. I think it may not work out that way because of the situation here, because of the ecosystem here. So I think, in a very blunt way, I think the central government will have to take a greater role in making this, and there are ways and means. I am convinced that the central government can exercise its options, exercise its powers, to make sure that people start talking, and all these illegal people who are roaming around freely, they can be disarmed. You know,
the illegals need to be disarmed. The illegals seem to be getting more weapons, higher technology weapons. Earlier drones, General Chauhan, were used for reconnaissance. Now they're being used, they've been weaponized. In 30 seconds, and I'm sorry, I've run out of time on this part of the show, your take on the solution. 3 quick steps, if you could list out, sir.
Firstly, get everyone together. All counterinsurgency forces must work together. They must have a coordinating committee, use technology available with each force. That's the first issue. Secondly, get the youth leaders of all the communities in Manipur. Get them together and tell them that it is their future generation that is going to be affected. Get them, force them to come to a solution. It's the youth that decide whether we're going to fight or not. It's their future. Thirdly, if there is a need for a political change, please do it effectively and quickly. These are the 3 things. If you do that, I'm certain you'll get peace. You must have a committee of peace and reconciliation. You must reconcile with each other, and don't leave any fault lines for China to use.
Don't leave any fault lines for hostile powers in India's neighborhood to use. Plain speak from 2 soldiers who know the lay of the land on ground. Gentlemen, for joining me here on India Today, many thanks. We'll track the story very, very closely. And I want to leave you on a happier note. With 15 medals, India has placed 15th in the Paralympics medals tally. There are more medals expected from the Indian contingent. We spoke to some of those who brought laurels to India. This is about victory against all odds. We bring you this India Today special from the Paralympic Games.
An IIT graduate, an IAS officer, an armless archer, India's para-athletes are shining bright in Paris. A maiden Paralympics appearance for the 29-year-old Nitesh Kumar, and he gets his hands on the biggest prize. Nitesh isn't just a genius on the court. He also happens to be a graduate from the prestigious IIT Mandi, the place where he discovered his passion for badminton.
एक्सीडेंट हुआ था तब ये सब इन सब चीज़ों का थोड़ा बहुत ज़्यादा सेटबैक था, बहुत बुरा लग रहा था, बट आई नेवर न्यू दैट आई एम गोना कम इनटू स्पोर्ट्स अगेन और मैं स्पोर्ट्स में इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करूंगा, इतना आगे आऊंगा. बट वो जर्नी थोड़ा सा पढ़ाई की तरफ गई एंड देन आई गॉट इनटू IIT, डिड एजुकेशन एंड एवरीथिंग. वहां पे समहाउ बैडमिंटन केम इनटू माय लाइफ और फिर once I started playing para sports, then that's when I had this dream that I have to win gold medal for India.
There was another gold medal to follow, and this one came from javelin thrower Sumit Antil. He successfully defended his crown with the Paralympic record of 70.59 meters. There was more delight to follow as Sheetal Devi and Rakesh Kumar came together to win bronze in the mixed team compound archery event.
खुशी है कि मुझे बहुत अच्छा भी लग रहा है. इतने छोटी समय में, इतनी छोटी उम्र में मैं यहाँ पर खेलने आई. अभी 3 साल हुए मुझे आर्चरी में. हाँ जी सर, मैं यही सोची जब मैं पोडियम पे थी तो मैं ये सोचती थी तब कि अपने आप को कह रही थी कि शीतल तू हर जगह मेडल जीतती है और यहाँ पे तुझे मेडल लेके ही जाना अपने देश के लिए.
Tulsimati Murugesan and Manisha Ramdas also secured podium finishes, with Tulsimati getting a silver and Manisha bagging a bronze. India's medal tally got a further boost as IAS officer Sohas Yathiraj finished in second place.
सिल्वर पाने से एक मिक्स्ड फीलिंग होती है. गोल्ड से चूकने का एक दुख होता है, बट एट द सेम टाइम जब थोड़ा फीलिंग सिंक इन होती है तो देन महसूस होता है कि पैरालंपिक में क्वालिफाई करना ही इतनी बड़ी बात होती है, देश के लिए खेलना ही इतनी बड़ी बात होती है. और उसके बाद सिल्वर पाना भी मुझे लगता है कि अपने आप में एक बहुत खुशी और गर्व की बात है.
India's Yogesh Kathunia won silver in the men's discus throw F56 event to become a double medalist at the Paralympics. He had won a silver 3 years back in Tokyo as well. India have sustained their winning momentum in the Paralympics and are looking good to overhaul their previous best tally of 19 medals in Tokyo. Sports Bureau, India Today.